See how we're looking on the main line.
Might have to check the chat for the
Oh yeah, you gotta keep doing that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to now that we got some action.
Yeah.
All right. True men to come, peace, noon, war times. We are back with a special edition. It's gonna be 2 editions because we're gonna have to bring back some of the things that's been going on. Some of the past that already happened, but we're gonna incorporate it into now because it's more relevant. And if you see the title, the title is called "Breaking Dr. York's Kabbalah Spell on His Followers." All right, so this is part 1, and because York, unlike many teachers before him, he taught an array of things, and a lot of stuff he never cited where he got them from. So only by us doing or redoing the Bible interpretations over again and getting in depth to a lot of the Jewish writings, which is the Hazor, the Zohar, the Safed, the Ari, the Kadesh, the Nitzak, the Yasar, the Arizal, the Talmud, the Mishnah, and the Sanhedrin. That's like 12 books with many commentaries and many subgroups of the mystical side of opposite of Judaism. And so by me specifically being associated in York's organization from like 95 to 2010, and then we been in multiple groups debating his followers after we got out of that, me and Nev and a few others. It's a lot of things brought up old conversations and gave me more in depth in view of it. And so a lot of times, we have made fun of them, but it's a serious side to it as well, which y'all will see. So you should know that when it comes to Nunaboo, we don't play. We don't make up titles. We don't play both sides of the field. We try to maintain transparency and facts and science. And when it is inspiration and revelation, we will tell you that, because that is a part of nature itself, whether it's Zoot doing it or Nupu doing it. Inspiration, revelation is extra information coming from either the best mind and the positive side of the orbs, or the worst mind and the negative side of the orbs. We acknowledge in nature in its whole entirety. We just have to be able to discern and determine who is sending what. And I think we done got pretty good at it over these last few years. So with that being said, I'm your host, Tarkina Nupu. I'm a proud member of the Ethiopian race, and I represent the Black. Well, that's my introduction.
True peace, kins and friends. I'm Nibu Ray Uno Nupu. I also represent the bladder of the second bladder within the Nunaboo race. And I'm pretty sure it'll be others that come along once they get this information and learn the true calendar, which is the new which is the Zodiac per se. And I am a representative of Noon by way of Nupu, the positive forces of nature. And I'm just sitting back and getting this information. And I know a lot of the newcomers is flabbergasted with the information that has come forth, information that they have not even been aware of. And that time is about to change because the energy is changing, and you will get this information because it is meant for you to receive it. True peace.
All right. True peace, all kins and friends. I am Nupu. I am a member of the Ethiopian race, also known as the African race, also a proud representative of Noon and Nupu, brought to us by our great messenger, Afro Nupu. And yes, I myself also will be taking a back seat tonight. I may do a show tonight, depending on how my energy is after this show, and all the other Noonie Boos as well. But for now, I'll be relaxing and watching the important and the vital information as it pertains to one of the cults that was literally created from the energy of 9-ether Nawapu. That, of course, these groups are meant to circumvent our science known as Nawapu/Noon, and we don't have to defend it because nature will do what it's supposed to do, as it has done with Dr. York, which means removed him from society in a maximum jail prison. And one of the clues and one of the signs that we knew that he was removed by the negative forces via the positive forces was when he got sentenced to 135 years. And if you add up 1 + 3 + 5, you get the number 9, which is a reflection of the information that he has stolen. So he was put behind bars because of the stealing of the information, as well as other crimes that he had committed. So when you are a negative entity such as him, there will be backlashes for stealing the information known as Noon. So no one on this panel claims to write Noon or claims Noon for themselves. We give all the credit to the messenger known as Afro Nupu. As far as creations and things like that, yes, we definitely take credit for our own creations within Noon, because we have to be honored for those things that we are doing. We stand on good and bad merits, regardless of what they are, because we were taught to stand on our merit in Noon. Okay, so that's my introduction, and true peace to all.
All right, so we're gonna jump into the proceedings. Like I said, this is gonna be a serious topic. It's gonna explain, like we've been saying, not just about Dr. York's followers, religions or spells, as Amanubi Rakapata, aka John Eugene Brown, aka Afro Moon, stated in the Bible interpretation 1968 and 1967, 68, and the 9-ball count. That's why Afro Moon did not teach religion. York, on the other hand, taught religion, and it's things that come with that, which we discovered more so how the Zionists, who are a bloodline of magicians, have been doing throughout the last 5,000 years. So ever since they went into Kemet under Khufu and learned magic in the Memphite theology and got a 1,000-year culture jump on the rest of the Caucasian race, and they've been using that to their advantage in the moon cycle. And we have also added on to that Yahweh, Yahuwah, Jehovah, Yahoo, Lord is nobody other than the moon god Tahuti. And so we're going to continue showing that. And York was an avid acknowledger of Tahuti being his incarnated being and his guide and the one who wrote through him and all of that. So since y'all, those who've been riding with us long enough, will see that that's not a good thing. Okay, so we're going to continue with this. And again, I'm crediting the video that y'all gonna watch. It's called Being Born Again. I think this is a guy who used to be into Judaism, and I think he got out of Judaism, and he's been making a lot of interesting videos about the Kabbalah and other things like that. So as I said before, we're gonna go ahead and move on to this. All right, so here's the video, and we're gonna start with that. Let me know if y'all can see that.
Yeah, was it the mystery of the well-placed Freemason?
Yeah, the name of the
Yeah.
video is called Kabbalah, the Religion of the Serpent.
Yes,
Okay.
I see it.
I see it.
All right, I'm gonna make it up a little bigger.
Yep.
All right, let's go.
For hidden spiritual truths, rather than holding to the clear and precise teachings of Christ Jesus and the apostles found in the New Testament. This is by design and part of the Kabbalist agenda. In God's Word, we don't need to decode secret mysteries, unravel sealed-up messages, decipher clues, or pull back the veil on hidden things. All that we need, all that God wants us to know, is contained in the Bible. Partaking of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil is forbidden. Gnosticism is a very old heresy that teaches that the truth is hidden and has to be decoded, uncovered, unlocked, unveiled, and learned through initiation.
Therefore, rebuke them sharply, that they may be sound in the faith, not giving heed to Jewish fables and commandments of men who turn from the truth. To the pure, all things are pure, but to those who are defiled and unbelieving, nothing is pure, but even their mind and conscience are defiled. But you are not to be called rabbi, for you have one teacher, and you are all brothers. And call no man your father on earth, for you have one Father, who is in heaven. Neither be called instructors, for you have one instructor, the Christ. The greatest among you shall be your servant. Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted. The high priest then questioned Jesus about his disciples and his teaching. Jesus answered him, I have spoken openly to the world. I have always taught in synagogues and in the temple, where all Jews come together. I have said nothing in secret.
The dangerous Kabbalah is that they want people not studying until they're ready for it because of various reasons. No one would be able to understand that stuff. I myself, I've been.
Now, if you look at this little thing they call Golem, right? The little gray-looking thing. So, Golem is the name of the little thing in the Lord of the Rings. He kept running looking for the ring, saying, "My precious." His name was Golem. A lot of these mystical names are in movies and in video games. Like they have this tree of knowledge that the Kabbalah uses. One of them is called a Sephiroth. And in the Final Fantasy games, the ones that I was playing, 7, 8, and remake, it's an evil guy in there named Sephiroth. So I've noticed a lot of mystical titles and names that they put in certain places because it all has a meaning. I remember I told y'all everything they say and how they say it is already toned to blaspheme and cause confusion in people.
Kind of emphasizing in the mystical traditions of Judaism for over 20 years now. Whenever I find my way to a piece of Torah that's the dangerous stuff, I never can make heads or tails. I don't understand what in the world's going on over there.
The Kabbalah is a belief system that predates religion and predates Judaism as an organized religion. It's a belief system. It's incredibly scientific, and as I said, it predates religion. I think people, a lot of the rituals will...
What she's saying is true. What a lot of people in the conscious community keep forgetting, like Afro stated, the Kabbalah is the magic that they learn from Kemet and how they put it in their own terms and based on their nature and languages. And it was only spoken from mouth to ear until you got into the ADs. Then they constructed Judaism, and then they laced the Old Testament and the prophets and the writings with the magic of that. So when people say, oh, Judaism wasn't, was created in 600, 700, the caves off and start converting to Judaism. It doesn't matter. The magics and language was still there. They still was using that before they put it in the book form. And that's to throw you off. And it's to make people believe that Judaism is as an organized religion is young, because once they put it in a physical form, people start dating it from that point. But before that, they was never writing that stuff down. It was like a person who has an awesome mind, like a griot, you know what I'm saying, or somebody who has a photographic memory. They one of those who would learn like that, studied this stuff and memorized it, and that's what they was doing. So that's what Madonna is saying, is that it does predate religion, organized religion.
All of the rituals have been appropriated by the Jewish faith. I was looking for something. I mean, I'd begun practicing yoga. I find that the Kabbalah and Buddhism and other religions or philosophies that I've been studying they're more adaptable to modern living, to modern life. It makes me think that at one time there was one thought. Yeah, so all paths lead to God.
Yeah.
Well, Madonna, if all paths lead to God, then that would mean that everything is true. And if everything were true, then nothing is true. But we read in Matthew chapter 7, verses 13 and 14, "Wide is a gate and broad is a way that leads to destruction, and there are many who go in by it. Narrow is the gate and difficult is the way which leads to life, and there are few who find it."
Hi, my name is Roseanne Sherry Barr. My Hebrew name is Shana Rivka, and I wrote this book, Roseanarchy, Dispatches from the Nut Farm, and it's about my Jewish upbringing and my Jewish ethics and my Jewish everything. My book is kind of me rewriting Torah, because as they say, after you study Kabbalah for 50 years and are bearded, you are qualified to write commentary. And the kids now, they have this MILF thing, mothers I'd like to.
Now, people like her would be considered a Reformed Jew, or part of the Jews that allow women to now get involved and become rabbis and stuff. Before, they would not let females be rabbis and stuff like that. The Christian church follows the same way. They had that same belief that women shouldn't be preachers and stuff. But now they are. They got their own churches. All this is Leviathan, because we know that Leviathan in the bottom half is dominated more by females than its masculine side. So this is Leviathan. As you can see in the background, you can see the snakes going up the tree of life, which is the Kabbalah mystical thing. I'm gonna say something later on when they get to this, so y'all gonna understand something that we all seen, but we didn't really realize what it was.
F. It's like kind of a porn thing. So the JILF is Jews I'd like to. And it's about my generation of JILFs. And how we are the sexiest and hottest of all women. And we have, had a world open to us that wasn't open to any women before us. To be able to openly study Kabbalah is that's a new thing for JILFs.
And I wanted to know the answers. And I heard about these classes they were teaching. I heard they were very scientific in nature, not dogmatic and religious, and it didn't matter where you came from or what religious faith you were brought up in. And I heard the teacher was brilliant.
And he's a rabbi.
He's a rabbi, yeah.
So it's generally considered a sect of Judaism, is it not?
It is the mystical interpretation of the Torah.
Where does Kabbalah come from? The Kabbalah is a religion of the Antichrist and is a revelation of the government of Lucifer. The Kabbalah is the original religion from the serpent in Eden that tempted Eve with the forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The serpent deceived her into believing she too could become like God. The great fall of man began with this forbidden tree.
So this is what the tree of good and evil means in reality when you look at it from the Kabbalah. But they watered it down into the regular version of the Bible that people read. And when Christians read this, they don't understand that that tree is symbolic, because we know what happened in reality, that the priests and nuns were given sexual stimulants, and that was a physical act and had nothing to do with the Kabbalah, because they were studying, the Hindus was following the laws of Manu, which was already before this, what the Kabbalah, the Jews is using. So they coded this stuff in their own way and then rewrote it. And so Christians who believe this is believing this because the spells and magic that the Kabbalists use and put in the words tree. So when you're saying tree, you're talking about this. You're talking about this, the Sephiroth and all this stuff, and it has all these breakdowns to it. So that's why Christians, the spell is breaking only because we're in a sun cycle and noon is here, and Nupu is causing the veil to lift. If it wasn't for that, people will still be caught up talking about a tree, and how you could put a tree that's full of good and evil. There's no such thing as that.
And this same tree is a Sephiroth tree in Kabbalah. Kabbalistic knowledge was passed down through satanic secret doctrines of the Chaldean, Phoenician, and Egyptian mystery religions, and was adopted and appropriated by the ancient Israelites while they were being held captive in Babylon between 600 and 500 BC. Kabbalah was then transmitted orally by the rabbis, eventually to be interwoven into what is now considered modern Judaism, as they strayed far from God's commandments, perverting their religion. After the Jews were released from captivity, foreign conquest drove the wicked Pharisees to hide the powerful dark knowledge of the Kabbalah and make it secret.
So Kabbalah, but always taught in a very secretive group. You had to be on the inside to get the wisdom. You had to know somebody that knew somebody to get invited. Hey, meet me in the forest by the tree, and we have a small study group over there. So you had to be the right type of person. You had to have the right amount of wisdom, and you had to be trusted with this wisdom as well. It's not written for everyone to understand. It's written in a language. It's almost like a map that you need a key to decode. It's like any cryptology. It's written in a language that you need, but instead of, the language is decipherable in and of itself. It's written in Hebrew and Aramaic, and you can read it and translate the words, but the meaning of it, you need that key to really understand it. That as this was taught secretively, in smaller groups, in exclusive settings, throughout the age, throughout the centuries, it's important to remember that those teachers and those students, they did understand what it was talking about, obviously. They understood it, and they explained it, and they taught it, and it was well understood. The idea was, though, that this is not meant for everybody, and so we're going to leave it in esoteric language. Number one, people shouldn't understand it. Number two, they shouldn't try to understand it. And number three, it can remain kind of the exclusive hold of those that need access to it.
The Kabbalah is a collection of Jewish magical texts which were given to mankind via psychic communion with a fallen angel called Raziel. Raziel is one of a pantheon of so-called fallen angels who serve the light bringer Lucifer. The Kabbalah describes the many angels and demons who inhabit the spiritual realm. The Kabbalah gives Kabbalists a roadmap called the Tree of Life, which explains how to invoke and communicate with these powerful spirits. The magical information in the Kabbalah originates from Babylon and ancient Egypt at the time of the pharaohs. but did not reach Europe in printed form until the 11th and 12th centuries. The sacred books of the Kabbalah are just a few thousand words long, but they contain complex descriptions of a spherical Earth, parallel universes, and the atomic nature of matter, ideas which have become common doctrine amongst modern physicists and astronomers. How could such complex information be contained in a group of ancient texts barely larger than an average magazine? The answer is that the Kabbalah is written in code. Codes are used to conceal multi-layered complex information which would later be studied by medieval alchemists. Sir Isaac Newton and many leading scientists studied the rich occult sciences within the Kabbalah. There was a time when mysticism, religion, alchemy, astronomy, and astrology were studied as one Kabbalistically based tradition. Jewish physicist Albert Einstein conveyed pages and pages of complex calculations in a simple 5-symbol code. E equals mc squared. Modern-day quantum physics, chaos theory, and the notion of parallel universes can all be traced back to the original texts of the ancient Kabbalah.
When I first made the correlations between Kabbalah and science, I was stunned.
We do know that Isaac Newton had access to certain mystical texts, certain texts of the Kabbalah.
Well, the Kabbalistic description of creation is coming from a single little point, from a speck, and of having matter form and time and space form all together at the very beginning. This sounds very much to me like the description of the Big Bang.
All the things that could destroy string theory, all the things that do destroy every rival theory to string theory, they are all eliminated in precisely 10 and 26 dimensions. These dimensions are magic. We physicists don't know where these dimensions come from.
The Zohar says those things. It could have been a lucky guess. I don't know.
In her book, Deanne Lauper does a fantastic job at explaining why so many will be deceived by Kabbalah's enlightened pseudoscience quantum physics, and how it embodies the end times religious deception of ecumenism. As in Kabbalah, today's science of quantum physics is a study of the interconnectedness of all things. Matter and energy are said to be held together in a unified field of light. In simple terms, quantum physics is the observation of invisible particles. Atoms, electrons, monads, quarks, superstrings, frequencies, vibrations in another dimension, and the effect of those particles on the material world by the observer. Because everything is made of atoms, we are all one at the subatomic level. We are all part of this force of light that connects and holds everything together. Thus, it is said, the new science of quantum physics will prove what Kabbalah has always taught, that God is in every person.
Let me add that this right here, ecumenism, it means, I have to look that up. It basically means ecumenism refers to the movement that promotes unity and cooperation among different Christian denominations, emphasizing shared beliefs over historical divides. The term comes from the Greek word oikoumene, meaning the inhabited world. So basically, this is really, because again, this guy here, we went from one trap to another one, because all this stuff goes back to the Kabbalah. So it don't matter if he ran to any religion, but here they're trying to unite Christians, which they're doing to the point where they're supporting Israel through magic, and they're using the Bible to do so. And that's why they tricked them into World War II by making them believe that we got to unite. And this is why Trump was doing what he was doing. Most of those, I said in in the Noahide videos 1 and 2, especially part 1, about how they just always trying to get Christians to come together. When Trump would say, come on, Christians, come on, evangelicals, just, vote one more time. I love you, Christians. I'm not a Christian, but we need y'all Christians to come together. If you look at the Democrat Party, it's Christians, and they call themselves liberals and conservatives. All this is a spell on Christians in their different parts. So this is what this is. So this is why these people don't see the whole kit and caboodle. So that just me. Once I look this word up, I said, okay, I see what they're doing, but you have to turn it into politics. And if you look into politics in America, you see everybody in there. You see the Jews in there trying to get their stuff controlled for world domination. The Muslims are in politics because they just trying to pay America back. They just want to make America fall. And they mad at the Jews too, but they mostly mad at white America. The Hindus just trying to get respect. They not being respected in the politics because they got their own country. And then you got the Orient, which is the symbol of Asia. That's the Mongolians, whether it's the Japan, Korean, they got a problem and they trying to topple America too. But all of them are trapped via religion because of the magic that's going on. So that's just what the basic meaning of ecumenism is.
Tutte le religioni sono un cammino per arrivare a Dio.
See?
Because every religion is a way to arrive at God.
Sono, dirò una comparazione, sono come diverse lingue, diversi idiomi per arrivare lì.
Look at the Pope. The Pope hat is a Jewish hat. And he's talking to other religious people. So people is not understanding the real power that they're willing. And when he keep talking about all paths lead to God, they talking about the moon god. Don't forget that.
Sort of a comparison, an example would be they're sort of like different languages in order to arrive at God.
Qualcuno è Sikh, qualcuno musulmano, qualcuno hindi, qualcuno cristiano, ma sono diversi cammini.
There are different paths.
Can you begin to see the picture that's being painted here? To the undiscerning, itching ears, Kabbalah sounds incredible, with its promises and revelation of divinity within every single person and with every single thing. But when all paths lead to God, then good and evil will eventually become blurred lines. Soon, the ideas of what is good and what is evil will become reversed and inverted. Truth will no longer exist, and those who seek it will ultimately be despised and hated. Let it be known to all of you and to all the people of Israel that by the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, whom you crucified, whom God raised from the dead, by him this man is standing before you well. This Jesus is the stone that was rejected by you, the builders, which has become the cornerstone. And there is salvation in no one else, for there is no other name under heaven given among men by which we must be saved.
The higher secrets of the Kabbalah included instructions on how to kill a person with just one look. This is called the evil eye. The magical name for the evil eye is En-Ha-Ra. In a wax cylinder recording made in 1921, we can hear British black magician and part-time espionage agent Aleister Crowley invoking the fallen demon angel Raziel and En-Ra-Ha, the evil eye.
Aleister Crowley is one of the most famous practitioners of Kabbalah black magic. He founded the religion of Thelema in the early 20th century. He called himself the most wicked man in the world as well as labeling himself the 666 beast from the book of Revelation in the Bible. Aleister Crowley's work served as a basis for the famous Babylon working ritual
let me go back.
performed by the Bible. Aleister Crowley's work served as a basis.
Look at all them sevens on Aleister Crowley book cover.
Yep. Remember I was
Booty
telling
all day
y'all
long.
they hide under that number 7. Like I was telling y'all before.
Yeah.
For the famous Babylon working ritual performed by the founder of Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard, and jet engine scientist Jack Parsons. The Kabbalistic ritual was an intense ceremony performed for months, from January through March 1946, near the future site of what would soon become Area 51. Aleister Crowley's black magic is practiced heavily within the modern music industry. He's on the cover of the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band album. Evidence of Kabbalah witchcraft permeates the Beatles' music and artwork. Aleister Crowley's famous slogan of "Do What Thou Wilt" is used by rapper and husband to Beyoncé, Jay-Z, on his clothing line. David Bowie referenced Aleister in the lyrics to Quicksand. He's on the cover of the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band album. Evidence of Kabbalah witchcraft.
Look at them, they got dismembered babies and meat, uncooked meat all over
Permeates.
them. Look at this foolishness. What has this got to do with music? This is pure foolishness.
Beatles music and
Look at this
artwork.
mess.
Aleister Crowley's
Look at
famous.
Crowley got the, look at there go Osiris headpiece right here. There go the Jed pillar right there. Look, all this is ghost god, death.
Slogan of "Do What Thou Wilt" is used by rapper and husband to Beyoncé, Jay-Z, on his clothing line.
Look at the Sephiroth, the tree of the Kabbalah, the David boy drawn on the floor. These people always being controlled all along. That's why they came out weird. They go in and they become possessed. This is why they came out looking crazy. Prince, Michael Jackson, all of them. When you really doing deep and depth study and look at their album covers and stuff and really look at the artwork, you'll see all of this Kabbalah stuff. This is showing you who's controlling them. This is why they always in the getting fussed at about the music industry and the record contracts, because this is it. People talking about you signing your name. This is it. They get you with this.
David Bowie referenced Aleister in the lyrics to Quicksand, and Ozzy Osbourne paid tribute to him with a whole song titled Mr. Crowley.
Yeah, Ozzy Osbourne just died like 2-3 months ago.
Jimmy Page, the lead singer of Led Zeppelin, was heavily influenced by Crowley's writings and teachings, and he even owned a house that was previously occupied by Crowley. Do What Thou Wilt was also printed on one of Led Zeppelin's vinyl albums.
Since medieval times, the Jewish people have been considered a race of magicians. The biblical rabbis used shaman-type techniques to induce altered states of consciousness. Fasting, flagellation, and burying oneself up to the neck were all techniques used to prepare the rabbi magician for a battle through the 7 portals of the Kabbalistic.
Right. This is how they get their incarnation. The way Anut described how they did it in ancient Kemet, and they had to go through fasting and all this old stuff, and had to be able to sustain themselves when they got put into the pyramid for long periods of time. This is the Jewish version of it. They have to get done like that because Crowley did the same thing. He was doing stuff by the pyramid, rituals, and getting buried up to his neck. All of this is the Kabbalah. And only ones who can sustain this stuff, this type of torture and extraneous rituals, they come out incarnated with some moon spirit. All right, this is what they're doing. This is showing you right here what they're doing for those who are chosen. Look at the number 7 is victory. 4 is mercy. That's the moon god. Mercy and forgiveness. That's the moon cycle. See, all these people, they know what's going on. Then look what they got here. 9 is the foundation. And they got it down here where the genitals is at. Because we at 3 South is the most sexual part of the one supreme being. So they know what's going on. They know this.
Tree of Life, where they would eventually meet the supreme deity in a realm called the Merkaba.
Merkaba. Now, for those who've been following York for years, they seen this symbol and this joint. And York was always talking about you can turn your body into a ship. The Merkaba or the Merkaba is different ways they pronounce it. This is another angel too called Metatron, but that's another conversation. So anybody who's been around know exactly what this stuff is coming from. Who didn't know, now you know. York was not pro-black, he was pro-Israel. All right? Ain't none of this Kemet. Even though magic and all they learned from us long ago, it all got constructed toward them because the forces were supporting them. So York was not teaching nothing from Kemet because he didn't know the language or the terms that the Kemetic priests and things were dealing with in the pharaohs. York was following the same group of people he was talking about in different ways. He was working for them, and I'm going to prove that.
Ritual sex magic was also practiced amongst some Jewish cults. Many temples had holes in the walls so that rabbis could ritually sodomize a prostitute, a young man or a boy, and invoke the fallen angel Raziel as they reached sexual climax.
Now this is what they was doing. They was doing all this stuff and calling on an angel called Raziel when they was about to climax. All right, so this is what they were doing. All right, so now you're gonna start seeing the sexual deviancy, and you're gonna say, okay, Todd, what does that got to do with York? Don't worry, don't you worry.
The word sodomy is derived from the name of the biblical city of Sodom, in which sex magic and also blood sacrifice were widely practiced.
Remember, York did a video, he did a book called Sodom Misinterpreted. And he was defending homosexuality and all of that. Now you see that Mr. York is following a group of people who are doing these things in a magic way. All right, so we're gonna skip, hold on, we almost there, hold on.
A strange version of vampirism, or blood drinking, is still practiced to this day by many rabbis who suck the blood from the freshly severed foreskin of newborn babies.
In the halakha, in Yeridea, that's the second section of the 4 sections of halakha called the Shulchan Aruch, the set table, in chapter.
Now, let me see if I can find this real quick, because this wasn't a part of the show. But let me see if I can find this real quick. Let me see. Because in here they got a thing, and it was a serious situation in New York where you can how should I say? what if the rabbis was in here taking the foreskin off a baby and sucking the blood out of it, and they was passing herpes to the babies. That was an epidemic up in New York. And they've been hiding that. But if you go research, that's part of their rituals. And let me see if I can find it. All right, so here, right? So you see what it says. Let me go back. I'm gonna try to read at the bottom, because this is what the guy is talking about. He's saying about sucking the blood from a baby's penis.
266, halacha 3, 4, 5, and 6, he describes how...
We talk about the halakha. This is one of their Jewish writings in 3, 4, 5, and 6. Says it's okay for the rabbi to suck the penis of a baby. Watch.
The circumcision is to be done. This is after the cutting. The mohel does what is called mitzitza. Mitzitza means to suck, and it means doing so with his mouth. You have to have a quick suction action. You have to have more pliability. So saliva is not a bad thing. Saliva has elements of cleaning, of antiseptic elements within it, and the other part of it is that the suction process of the mouth is quicker, more pliable, and it's more exact and works much better.
So this is what he's telling you. It's all right for them to do that. That's molesting a child that's just been born and they've been able to circumcise and suck the blood. Ain't none of that in the Old Testament that religious people use. But in their book called a halakha, H-L-A-A-K, I think K-A-H, halakha, it tells you it's okay to do that. All right, so let's go over here to show y'all a little something. All right, we're gonna go to Chuck's website. Shout out to Chuck Morgan. All right, NaWapinism.com. Tell me when y'all can see that.
I can see it.
You can see it anew?
Yep, I can.
All right, look what it says. Ask the Wapins, did you know your teacher believed that if a male child had a small penis, fondling or sucking it would help it grow? Created July 17, 2015. What's wrong? What is wrong with this man? But we telling you that it had to come from somewhere. All right? He just twisted it around. All right? Answer, that's sick. All right? So let's get down here a little bit. Yeah, it is. And as hard as for some of you to read this stuff, it had to be harder for people who experienced it firsthand. And the people telling these horror stories. In the testimony of Nicole Lopez, she was asked about an incident involving York's one-time driver and book translator, Miss Jen Hebei, also known as, or Isis, a female that lived in upstate New York and Edenton, Georgia. All right, this is a court transcript, December 30, 2003, page 2, LL 13 through 19. All right, I will also tell you that I'm not going to have a closed trial. I have made arrangement to have a closed circuit television set up, and any spectator will be able to watch the trial of this case on the third floor by watching a monitor set up for closed circuit television. I think that satisfies any public trial requirements under the Sixth Amendment or the First Amendment. They should have put big screens outside, but they still was protecting him because he had Jewish practices that he was performing. All right, we already see on York's headgear he had people wearing was the 6-pointed star. That's Jewish, which we told you Anu broke it down that came from the Hindus. The Shakti, ain't that it? The Shakta star, right, Anu?
Correct.
All right, so this is taking you back to their powers. There's nowhere, Kimmy, you're gonna find a 6-pointed star with an Ankh in it. It's no such thing. But we know that the Ankh represents sex, so this is basically a sign that's saying 6 ether. With a moon under it, with Yahuwah, that's Tahuti's symbol. and it was an Asian. This was the driver. All right, so earlier you mentioned someone named Isis Jinhee Nicole Lopez. Yeah, she came down with us from upstate at the time. She had a son named, they blanked it out. He had something wrong with his legs, requiring to use assistance walking, and she had a baby named blank. Do you know if any sort of sexual conduct took place between the defendant and either of these two sons? Nicole Lopez said there was an incident where me and Isis were in the room one night and Doc had her get her son blank, and he was about a year and a half. He wanted her to bring him in the house. See this? Look at this. Isis was concerned about her son being, he was underdeveloped. What did the defendant tell you about Isis' son, Nicole Lopez? He didn't tell me anything in particular about her son, but he said in the past that if a child had a small penis, fondle with it or do oral, it will help it to grow, because that's what his aunt did to help him grow. See, this is what York was doing and incorporating it to his fathers. Okay? This is a very telling statement. York appeared to have been fondled himself and sexually abused apparently by a relative and aunt, and judged by the fact that he lived in a segregated Islamic community in State Street from age 12. His claim that it's very possible he was sexually abused there. All right, so this is showing you he has Kabbalistic tendencies. So we're gonna go back to the video, all right? Because I want to stay on topic. I just wanted to veer off a little bit to the left so y'all can see the niggardry that's going on. All right, let me skip this all the way up. Let me see. Oh, okay, that was it right there. Okay, so we stopped there. All right, so now we finna go. Remember, it's talking about Raziel, so let's go back to where we supposed to be. Let's see which one is this. The first one. It's the first one. All right, let me know if y'all can see that.
You're gonna have to blow it up.
How about that?
A little bit more and you good.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
All right, here we go. This is a post that I did February 4th, 2015. I said, ask the Wabians, why did York invoke the demon spirit called Raziel, Akrasiel, Galazur, Sarakael, Suriel, that is spoken of in Jewish mysticism called the Kabbalah and the Tanam, the Mishnah, and then draw this spirit black and call it an elder and give it to the Wabians as an elder to be honored and worshiped. The Wabians will be totally confused. Here's what it said about this demon passed off as something special by York the sorcerer. All right? Raziel, Akrasiel, Galazul, Sarakael, Surya, etc., secret of God, angel of mysteries, angel of the secret regions, and chief of the supreme mysteries in the Kabbalah. He is the personification of Kakama, divine wisdom, second of the 10 holy Sephiroth. Now remember, in the Kabbalah, they was using deviant sex, anal sex, and called on this particular angel when they was climaxing. All right? In rabbinic law, he is the legendary author of the book of the angel Raziel, Sephiroth, wherein all celestial and earthly knowledge is set down. Legend has it that the angel handed this book to Adam, and that the other angels, out of envy, purloined the precious grimoire and cast it into the sea. Whereas God ordered a half primordial ancient demon of the deep to retrieve it and return it to Adam, which Rahab obediently did. The book finally came into possession of first Enoch, who it is said gave it out as his own work. The book of Enoch, then of Noah, then of Solomon, then later deriving it according to demon graphers, his great knowledge and power in magic. From a midrash, it develops that Noah learned how to go about building an ark by pouring over the Raziel tomb. The Zohar reports that in the middle of the book, there occurs a secret writing explaining the 1500 keys to the mystery of the world, which were not revealed even to the holy angels. Many feel that the true author is unknown, but he has been commonly identified as Elysia of Worms or Isaac the Blind, both medieval writers. The noted 13th century Kabbalist Abram ben Samuel Abulafia wrote under the name Raziel and the name Zachariah. In Targum Ecclesiastes 10 and 20, it is reported that each day the angel Raziel, standing on Mount Horeb, proclaimed the secrets of men to all mankind. Searching further in the Kabbalah, one learns that Raziel is one of the 10, actually 9 archangels in the Briac world, which is the second of the 4 worlds of creation. In this world, each Sephirah is allotted an archangel to govern it, the chief being Metatron, the others being apart from Raziel, to Zaphiel, to Zachuel, Kamael. Michael is one of the names that York love to call itself. Michael, Haniel, Raphael, Gabriel, and Sananaphan. According to the Mishnah Torah, Raziel is chief of the order of Irilam, also the herald of deity and preceptor angel of Adam. Raziel, an angel of the 7th hour of the night, serving under Mendrion. And this is the picture that York drew on the right, had drawn. So here we starting to see some things. We're going to get a little bit deeper. Now let's go into the comments. I said, York pulled this information and experience from the book called Sefer Raziel, El Libro de Raziel, Waila Escrutura Secreta Sigrium, El Mysticmo Judeo, Sefer Raziel, the book of Raziel, and the secret scripture according to Jewish mysticism. So why is a pro-black teacher from the planet Rix using Jewish mysticism? How this got anything to do with black liberation? None at all. And y'all can't say it ain't true because York did this. All right? In this book, you have these images. All right? It's like somebody got blood on the page. Filthy. Look at this. This 10 years ago. The word grimoire comes, according to the Royal Spanish Academy of Languages, French grimoire, and this is termed grammaire impaired, meaning grammar, according to the Tresor de Langue Francasi. This is due in part that in the Middle Ages, Grammar's Latina's book on Latin diction and syntax were essential for school and university education, and thus controlled by the Catholic Church. While the illiterate majority suspected that no church books were magical, thus grammar also denoted for both illiterate and literate for a book of basic education. They assume that, but we know that's not true. In the world of Kabbalists, Archangel Raziel is regarded as the great guardian of secrets and as the knower of all mysteries. His name is Hebrew, Riziel, means secrets of God. And according to the pre-Christian tradition and some Kabbalists, is the head of the Ophanim. The Ophim means wheel in Hebrew languages. For those who know, you look this up, when you look up, they say these are type of angels. They got, like, they look like wheels and they got eyes and wings and stuff on them. All right, a hierarchy of angels that if we ignore the Maimonides, 1135 to 1204 AD, note that occupy the second rank of the 10 categories. Angels contemplated in Hebrew angelic hierarchy. The Ophanim are considered the most strange and mysterious angels since his appearance as bright wheels rotate continuously, which are covered with big eyes, and their only mission is to move the carriage between God to the limits of the material world. Ezekiel 1:15 through 21. All right, here's another picture of these angels. According to the pre-Christian tradition, God gave this archangel 2 books that were handed over to men. One was titled Sefer Raziel Hamalek, Book of Archangel Raziel, a book of secrets, was given to Adam, and the other Torah or Law of God or Pentateuch was entitled, or the first 5 books of the Old Testament, namely Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, that was delivered to Moses on Mount Sinai. We all know it's a lie. We know that Akhmos I was a pharaoh, a Phoenician Arab pharaoh, and it was no darn mountain except if we're talking about the 3 pyramids of Giza. Moses, Akhmos I, ran them up out of there. So that's a lie. So all this is Kabbalistic lies. All right? So let's keep going. Side note, for those who you remember, look at the color of this page. Book above in Hebrew. Does it look familiar? It should. It should. Y'all use the same style of paper for his blue Revelation books back in the 80s. Like the same thing with this. This is how they look over here. If you ever seen the inside of these books, you'll put out in the late 70s and the early 80s, the pages with this color. It look just like this. So all this is showing you that York was indeed a student of the Kabbalah, and he was programmed to work for them. All right? I say this is more proof York was into Jewish mysticism while claiming the Kakasu or the Caucasians a devil. He was busy learning magic from them. Hypocrite. See? All right, let's keep going. Now down here is also, this was in the video when I played it earlier. All this is Jewish symbolism in the Kabbalah. See the stars in there and all of this stuff right here, the 6-pointed star, all of this. All right, so I said side note, this page above is stated comes from the Jewish mystic schools, and York used some of this in the Holy Tablets when speaking about the Raelian Caucasian alien cult in Canada. He tried to pass it off as an alien language, but we Nunaboos know it was him respecting the oaths not to tell where he really got it from. So if you see this right here, this is in the Jewish mystic Kabbalah. York put the same stuff in the Holy Tablets right here. See? And then lied and said it's the Palladians alphabet. Unconfirmed aliens. This is from the Jews. Why you got this stuff in your book, sir? How you raise the raise black people, and you using all these Jewish mysticisms to spellbind your people? You see that? Y'all see that, right? Mm-hmm. It's the same stuff in the Jewish stuff. See the balls on the end, all of that. He lied and said it was some alien language. Foolishness. And look, got the moon right there on the left. See, this is right out the tablets right here. And he called it the Kabbalistic script. And he's showing you in here. Right at the bottom, diagram 54, page 378 of the Holy Tablets. Why does York have this stuff in his book? Because he was using Jewish mysticism. Niggatry. In the 4 worlds of the Kabbalist Archangel Raziel is the 3rd world wisdom, called world allegorical Biriya, world where are gathered all complex stories and all the mysteries of both the material world in which we live and the spiritual that belongs. So this is in they book. See, you can tell it's the Jews, got the star, got all their little sigils, right? Side note, this same Jewish mystic symbol was also shown by York in the Holy Tablets with a very brief introduction. However, York got it from the Kabbalah. See, it's right here in the book. Page 646 in the Holy Tablets. Again, I asked the Sabians, the York followers, the worshipers, what is Mr. York doing with Kabbalistic and satanic inscriptions in his book? You seen the thumbnail? York had on a Jewish hat with the cloak. He was doing Jewish marriages on the land before they arrested him. He believed in messing with little boys' penises. Ain't nothing in the WAPU says do that. That's sexual deviancy. You messing with a little boy. The first book, there are copies in Hebrew and Aramaic, as well as translations made into Latin by order of King Alfonso X the Wise. Manuscript copies titled Liber Razilius, Archangeli. There are multiple versions of the original manuscript. One of those versions and perhaps the best known is the liberal Solomonis, which he said the tradition was King Solomon himself was responsible for giving the original book of Archangel Raziel a less allegorical, more accessible way to make more intelligible. And even in the Quran, they say that Solomon had the power to control demons. Same thing they have here. So they believe and know that spirits, all spirit beings are demons in their bottom half. Demons, demigods, demigoddesses. That means they can do good and evil. Then you have angels that can do good or angels that can do bad. So this is stuff that they learn, and that's why they incorporate and incarnate, meaning they have rituals that they can force a spirit being, God or goddess, to come to them and get things done. But it's a heavy price you gotta pay. All right. The pre-Christian and his various sacred books tradition tells us that Raziel was sent to earth in order to teach Adam all the secrets of nature and the universe. These are lies. Secrets that were collected in the book that will later be delivered, and were all the mysteries relating both to earth, where he lived thereafter, the universe to which he belonged, and the same mission he was entrusted with Moses on Mount Sinai, lies, to give the second book entitled Torah or Law, is explain God, laws and regulations that Moses should oblige, lies, all his descendant and other human beings who populated earth on, lies. Raziel was sent to earth with these two simple purposes. The second one given to Moses, lies. It's very easy to know what is written in it, but the first book that Archangel Raziel gave to Adam has not been able to interpret it. All its contents, nor a definitive conclusion. Most of the drawings and keys, plus allegories and symbols everywhere there is to it. So they claim they got this book, but they can't understand what it says. All right, so that right there, let's see, concludes my first presentation. All right, and I want to know what the Ken has to say about that.
True peace. I got some for all of them. Okay. Now, even though that was brought out that your was studying the Kabbalah and he was introducing that information to the followers, I also like to add that not only was he just doing that, but as far as his political stance, he was a vouch Democrat. And yeah, he was a Democrat, and there was a video where he was talking about Bush and Clinton and all that, talking about how the as far as voting, we never had no black president other than Clinton, and then because he blew the horn. Who gives a freak? How many Europeans we don't know that know how to play the sax? But he was trying to equate that to Bill Clinton identifying with black people. Bull crapper. Ola. Okay, now he also brought up the fact that he said as far as voting around that time, it was when Bush was running. He was like, yeah, Bush would be a great president. So he was not for, that's right there within itself, he was not for the Ethiopian African race. And also like to interject that in his studies, he brought forth, he used to say the spell of Leviathan was, he flipped it and was like the spell of Kingu. He used to say that. But Kingu was a figure from Mesopotamia mythology, best known as the consort of the primordial goddess Tiamat, who leads her army against the younger gods. After his defeat by the god Marduk, Kingu is executed, and his blood is used to create the first humans. The character also appears in the Modern Fate series, where he is a vision of the Hebrew Enkidu, created from Enkidu's body but with a different soul. Mesopotamian mythology. The role. Kingu was the husband and general of Tiamat, the primordial goddess of salt water, in the Enuma Elish creation epic. Conflict. He led Tiamat's monstrous army against the gods after his father, Apsu, was killed. Tiamat gave Kingu the tablet of destinies, which granted him great power. Fate, after Tiamat's defeat, Marduk defeated Kingu, took the tablet of destinies and executed him. His blood was mixed with clay to create humanity. The Fate series. The origin in the Fate series, Kingu is an artificial being created by Tiamat from the flesh and body of Enkidu. Identity. He believes he is a child of Tiamat, but he is not the real Enkidu and initially opposes the heroes. Development. As the story progresses, Kingu begins to absorb Enkidu's memories and his feelings and desires, become one with the original Enkidus. The redemption, he eventually helps the heroes fight against Tiamat, partially redeeming himself before his death. Now, with all of that being said, being that this all came from the Mesopotamia methodology, and Noon, we know that in Mesopotamia, it came Phoenicians, the seafarers, the Phoenicians, which goes back to the Arabs. That's why the followers is walking around with the bended dot, because they identify more with the Hindus than they do with the Africans. True peace.
All right. Newt, what you got to add on to that?
Not really much. You guys did an amazing job with the breakdown, but just my message is about the magic, not knowing the magic that people are under. You know, these magic spells are very dangerous to be playing with, and York didn't realize that he was in danger himself with playing with these magic spells. Why? Because these forces are always going to want something in return. You can't just use these magic spells thinking you're going to spellbound people and then turn around and not know that there's going to be repercussions that come with it. So just let this be a lesson to those who are following these magic spells and Jewish mysticism systems, that there will be a price to pay when you play with these magic spells and things of that nature. But I'm excited to see what's to come from this. But it was very informative. It's very video in the beginning, and a lot of we've been doing this for a very long time. You see, Tar pulled out a post from 10 years ago. So this is not something we have been, doing last night. This is something that was happening for a very, very long time. So we're just bringing things up to date and showing you that the spell, the spell isn't just today. It's happening yesterday, 10 years, 20, 30, 40 years ago. So we have to be able to break the spell so that we can move forward in a very organized manner. And true peace, that's my spill.
True peace.
True peace.
True peace.